Hello and welcome to Under the Lens. Obviously, year-long series is going to go on. Look at quarterbacks, running backs, all the 2016 draft prospects, even some 2017 guys, as we might be watching today. Joining me today to break down a quarterback who is so dear close to me, who I'm Team Dobbs, Charles McDonald, Derrik Klassen. First, with Charles, with you, how you doing today, man?
Doing pretty good. It's been a little muggy out today, but that's not keeping my spirits down. I'm excited to break down Dobbs today.
And Derrik, what about you?
I'm doing all right. I just snapped my headset like 5 minutes before we went on, so I'm rolling without the camera right now. I'm actually doing this at my girlfriend's house.
So today we're looking at Josh Dobbs, Tennessee quarterback. I'm a Tennessee Volunteers fan. This Dobbs story, I mean, at Tennessee, the whole quarterback situation for a few years has been bad. As a freshman, played late in the season, went 1-3, which if you're a QB win statistic keepers, that means he's a bad prospect. He can't do anything. 1-3, he's not worth anything. So for those of you watching, I'm sure you'll stop now. But really, last year, I mean, we'll talk about it. I mean, freshman year didn't really show much NFL promise. Sophomore year came in mid-season, and wow, big jump. I mean, Charles, starting with you, what were your thoughts on Dobbs' jump from freshman to sophomore year?
Uh, well, I haven't seen much of his freshman tape, to be honest, but I was really impressed with his sophomore tape. Like he doesn't have like any in terms of like his throwing ability. He doesn't have any like outstanding physical abilities. Like he doesn't have a rocket arm, but his anticipation's really good. His pocket presence is really natural. He's comfortable in the pocket. He doesn't wilt under pressure like some other quarterbacks. And even though he doesn't have like the strongest arm, he's not afraid to take chances down the field, fire in the holes in the zone, take chances against one-on-one coverage. You really like to see quarterbacks if they don't have like the greatest arm strength. You want to see them have confidence in their own abilities. And another thing I like about Dobbs is he's a pretty good athlete. He's shifty in the open field. See, when you have like a two-dimensional quarterback like that, like Dobbs, it's always going to pique your interest. But he's a better thrower. He's more advanced as a thrower than you think he would be based on limited playing time.
Yeah, I mean, I think with this game, we're going to see 2014 versus South Carolina. One of his best games, one of his few starts, but one of his best games of the year. So we're going to see a little bit of everything with that. And Derrik, what are your thoughts on Josh Dobbs from what you saw from his sophomore year and potentially his freshman year?
Well, his freshman year, I never like sat down and watched it in depth or anything, but I'm a Gators fan, so I watched quite a bit of SEC, and I remember seeing Dobbs, and I was like, well, he's athletic, but like as a passer, he's really not much better than any of these other Tennessee guys. But I mean, at the least, he was athletic, so I knew he was at least going to be this fun player to watch in college. And then his sophomore year, he came in and took over for, I think it was Worley. Worley never should have really started the season. Worley sucks. Um, but yeah, Dobbs came in and started, and he looks really good. Charles was saying, he doesn't really have any incredible physical features as a passer, but he does everything else right. Like Charles was saying, he has an incredible presence in the pocket. Unlike a lot of athletic quarterbacks tend not to. They tend to kind of want to jump too early or just find a way out, like Manziel. And I actually think Dobbs is a lot like Johnny Manziel if Manziel had a legitimate presence in the pocket. Like if you didn't see Manziel dip out too early or, spin around and throw a pass up 30 yards in the air and have HaHa Clinton Dix miss the deflection so it looks like a completion. But anyway, Dobbs is really talented, and he has everything you're looking for from a passer. In terms of anticipation, he looks smart. He can go through multiple reads, stands in the pocket well. He knows when to dip out and when to stay in the pocket and make a throw. He's shown that he can move around the pocket to make throws, and he's shown he doesn't have a great arm, but he has enough arm, and he's shown that he's confident in his arm to make some of the harder throws like outs and even those little five-step pitches look they're a lot more difficult to hit than they look, especially when you're throwing from the far side. So just throws like that. Um, there's really nothing. I think he can do just about everything that you're looking for from a quarterback. I just think he's not outstanding in any of those areas, so I don't think he's a special player, but I think he can be a very good quarterback. I'm excited to see what he can do next year.
Definitely, one of the big issues that a lot of Tennessee fans had last year wasn't with Dobbs itself, but was with the offensive line, which I'm pretty sure if you put up against the high school offensive line, the high school offensive line would have been 8, 9 times out of 10. It was dreadful last year. So, and one other thing on him, I mean, you mentioned Justin Worley. Goodness gracious, that was ugly.
Worley sucks. Like going into the year, I was like, I mean, Dobbs isn't that good, but at least he's athletic. Like, there's no way he's worse than Worley. And they come out. It was some of the preseason talk, and I actually think Nick Page DM'd me. He was like, Tennessee's starting Worley. I was like, are you kidding me? Like, I thought it was a joke, and sure as shit, he comes out and Worley's starting.
Yeah, it's a painful, painful memory. But now Dobbs, not Jobs. Dobbs has the job as starting quarterback. I mean, mental acuity. I mean, he is just a genius. I mean, look at his major. He's aeronautics engineering, which is just ridiculous. I wish I had even 1/10 of that brain. But I mean, hard worker off the field, on the field, one of the best guys in the locker room, has become a leader for the team. He's interning at NASA right now. I mean, has spent hours working for NASA, but also studying the playbook, just improving the little aspects of his game. So from a hard work standpoint, which you need to take those big steps we've seen from freshman to sophomore year, he has that all, and we're going to see one of his best games against South Carolina. Charles, first with you, then Derek. Any final notes before we start the game?
No, I'm ready to get in. Actually, we should probably try to keep an eye on Tennessee receiver Marquez North. I think he's pretty good. I don't remember if he flashed in this game, but I've definitely seen some nice things in the games I've watched of Dobbs, so keep an eye out for him. I'm ready to roll, though.
Same.
I'm all about Team Quez North. All right, here we go. Josh Dobbs versus South Carolina. It's just a real quick bio blast that Network did on him.
He's got to work on that hairline.
Yeah.
Eyebrows.
Eyebrows are. And there's that win-loss record, which is such a detriment to him, according to some.
At least he has a better hairline than Derrick Henry.
And Brashad.
Is number 1 Jalen Hurd?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. He's pretty good too.
Ooh, yeah. He came on later half of the year. Showed a lot of.
I mean, he did everything right from a execution standpoint, except for actually hitting the throw.
Yeah, that's one thing. Like, sometimes his accuracy's still a bit off, but I think that'll come with more experience.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping. That's something I saw too. Like, I mean, he's generally pretty accurate, but you have these instances where he should hit a throw and he just doesn't. I mean, on that throw he splits the defender. That's just a tough throw to make, but he put it really in the only spot that's going to be completed.
Yeah.
I like how well he's able to reset his feet right there.
Same. I love that.
Yeah, that's really good. And then to make a throw to the
far sideline.
to the far side. That's a pretty far. Yeah, that's a pretty damn good throw. I mean, just from getting himself in position and then actually being able to make the throw.
Yeah. If he had a little bit more arm strength, that might be a touchdown though. But that's
Yeah,
nitpicking.
probably.
That's nitpicking a little bit.
Maybe, yeah. Yeah, if he puts a little more on that, that probably is a touchdown instead of this guy having to kind of jump for it. Uh, but I mean, still, most guys in situations like that aren't able to set their feet like they should be able to. And for a true sophomore to be able to do that is pretty impressive, especially considering how many snaps he's played. And then he shows off his athleticism. I don't think he's a special athlete um, like Trevin Boykin or anything, but I think he's pretty damn good. If I remember, this was the muffed handoff, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, those, I don't know what to do with those plays because it's tough to tell unless you know what the call was. Like, was it the running back not knowing the call and knowing that he needed to take it, or was it Dobbs uh, not knowing it was play action? That's why, like, with some of these plays, it's really tough to like 100% understand what was going on.
Like, well, I love to see him make people miss in the pocket, turn a
Hmm.
negative into a positive.
Exactly. And he's very good at keeping calm. Like, he had a rusher right in his face with no blocker ahead of him, and he was able to pause, look like he was going to make a throw, and turn out of it.
Yep.
And this offense is just so natural for Doc. I mean, with Butch Jones' system, and yet they went with Roy, which is ridiculous. But seeing him in limited games, because Derek, I know you've talked about getting those reps. He hasn't had a lot, so for the amount of reps he's had,
Yeah, considering the amount of reps, like live reps he's had, he looks really good in like the nuances of the game. Because like
Hmm.
you watch Cardale Jones, and like he looks good from like a production collegiate standpoint, but with all the nuances, he kind of struggles. And maybe that is just because of the amount of snaps he's played. But then you look at Dobbs, and with all the nuances, he looks really good considering he's only started 4 or 5 games or something like that. I really like read option on the goal line. It's just an awkward thing. There's not a lot of space for a concept that kind of takes space.
Yeah.
That's a really good throw.
Yep. You see him look, he kind of looks off the defender and comes back to the tight end.
Hmm.
That's a really good play.
Yeah, I was actually just watching a lot of Ben Roethlisberger this week, and they used Keith Miller a lot on those right around the hash markers routes, like up the seam like that. And
Hmm.
Ben did such a good job of looking off the defender, making sure the linebacker wouldn't be in the way, and that's exactly what Dobbs did right there, which is
Yep.
really
He's not afraid to like fire it in there, even though his arms like it's not, even though his arms not great, he's still gonna take that chance.
yeah.
Another thing I like about Dobbs is when he's running, like he doesn't expose himself to getting crushed by like linebackers and safeties.
Yeah.
He either goes down or he's gonna run out of bounds, but he's never gonna expose himself to getting killed.
And even over the middle of the field, like when he knows he has to get hit, he knows how to make himself compact. Um, like he's not taking a huge blow to some exposed area or something like his ankle or something like that. He does a very good job of getting low and making sure he's not taking that hard of a hit. Which being available is a trait in and of itself. Like
Yeah.
if you're not able to stay on the field, you're not going to be that good or useful at least. It looked like he was wanting the go route first, and then saw that his tight end was able to break and threw that immediately. I like how well he naturally hitches up in the pocket and is
hmm
able to keep his eyes downfield and still hit a receiver without a very good base. I mean, like he's kind of leaning forward, his body's a little off, and he's still able to make that throw. I
Very
mean, that's
natural pocket presence.
exactly like that's the kind of stuff you want to see. You want to to have a guy that knows when to move and when things are kind of crashing around him and when he's not able to set his feet correctly, um, he's still able to make all the throws he needs to, and that's exactly what he did. That was one of the scariest. If does the defender get a hand on that one? I'm like the
I
underneath
believe so.
linebacker. It looks like he did.
Yeah, but you can even pull a positive out of that because he doesn't get scared even as he doesn't tense up even as he's getting hit. He still tries to follow through with his throw.
Hmm.
When you see that happen to like Connor Cook, he's doing something wild with the ball in that situation.
Yeah, or like jumping back off his back foot, and Dobbs didn't even do that. Dobbs, yeah, like you said, Dobbs tried to follow through, knowing he was going to get popped in the mouth, which is pretty respectable to have a guy that's going to sit in there and at least try to make the throw like that. Dobbs is a fun player. I don't like. I'm not sure what his chances are of actually coming out,
I
but I mean he's eligible and he looks better than almost all of these other quarterbacks.
I'd say the one thing that I mean, if he were to leave, is because Tennessee's signed two quarterbacks this recruiting class, 4 stars, signed another one, and trying to so they're gonna have a bunch come in if he were to leave. So maybe they know he might, but I'm not sure.
Maybe. I mean, I definitely don't think he has to worry about being forced out of his job because
No,
it
it's
looks like
just maybe Tennessee
yeah.
knows that he.
Okay, yeah. On the other hand, with his degree, I feel like if you're going to be take a degree like that, you're going to be pretty committed to it.
Yeah,
So I feel like he could stay, not only this year but like through his senior year,
there he
or
goes,
will he
getting
will
out of
have to.
bounds again.
Yeah.
He's got very natural drops, like, and you see
Exactly.
there's a nice hole, nice throw in the zone.
Mhm. Yeah, it looks smooth. It's timely like that. Um, yeah, he's not really wasting any movements. He knows how to quickly get up. A lot of issues with guys with their drops is that they don't fire off like when they hit the apex like that and fire back up into the pocket. A lot
hmm
of guys don't really do that all that well, and it looks like Dobbs really does that pretty well for the most part. Like he knows how to gain the ground he needs to again. That look. Can you rewind that, Matt? That looked like a draw, but I'm not entirely sure. Like that looked like that him running was what was supposed to happen the entire time.
Yeah,
Yeah, nobody's really running about. That's exactly what they're supposed to do. Okay. I
so
like when I like when you're able to use a quarterback, his athleticism. I just hope that next year they don't put too much of a stress on it and expose him. Even though he does a very good job at keeping himself safe, um, hits over a certain amount of time are still going to do damage.
yeah, I think next year because they have Alvin Kamara as well, so you're going to see a lot more just focus on the running backs and letting him quarterback.
Okay, I can see that working a lot.
You rerun that play, Matt. So even as like the left guard's kind of collapsing on him, he's still he's still like not phased by the pressure in front of him. Gets that ball out downfield, even though he didn't complete it.
Hmm.
So like his accuracy is still kind of a work in progress at this point, but he does almost everything correct up until that ball gets to the receiver sometimes.
Exactly. And you see him start looking at the right side of the field, and I think what he was doing is trying to hold that safety over so
Yeah,
that he could have this one-on-one. And it looked like he probably needed to put a little bit under that, more under that. It looked like the cornerback was really in position either way, and that the cornerback slowed up to try to get to that ball. Um, so either way, that was probably an incomplete pass. But for him to know how to hold the safety and take the one-on-one shot, um, even though he didn't complete it, I can at least respect that he's not afraid to take those shots down the field to a guy that's not necessarily open, but to try to make a play like that.
And I feel like I mean, if you're looking to build a quarterback, it's hard to teach them. If they can't handle pressure, it's hard to teach them to do it correctly. For them to have it naturally and have everything ready, set to go. So you just need to work on the accuracy with it.
Hmm. I mean, he's even confident in the way he runs too. Like he doesn't show like he's hesitant or scared to run through a hole, even if
yeah.
defenders might be right there.
I think most of his runs are to the inside and just running through.
Hmm. Yeah, there it looks like he knows um, where the play is going to be. That in that if he can pull the linebackers out just far enough and then cut back inside, he has at the very least has that first down, and then ends up just making a couple of defensive misses and getting a touchdown.
He's pretty instinctive, like in both the running and pass game. Like
Yeah,
he really he gets what's going on in the offense, which is really impressive for a guy who's only had a few starts.
exactly. Like at the very least, what you want to see from a guy that maybe needs to work on his passing is just that he can handle, any sort of situation like that, and that he's very natural in doing that. Um, and that's probably some of the appeal with Cardale is like he struggles with some of the nuances of the game, but at the very least he has this instinctiveness like to find a way to get yards. And there it looked like he did a very good job of following blockers and making sure he wasn't getting too far ahead of himself. See, that throw looks like the receiver just gauges it wrong because he stops for a second and then
And
the
you
ball
also
looks
had
over his head.
PI.
Yeah. So I mean, this really looked like an accurate throw, just that between the receiver having to kind of slow down because of the pass interference or him just not having very good tracking ability, it was incomplete. But I feel like if that receiver keeps stride, that's a complete throw.
His footwork on the follow through is really good on that play too.
Hmm.
And this is one where accuracy sometimes just.
Yeah, just gotta get that throw.
See that I don't even think was I think that was his arm because
Yeah,
he was throwing off like 1 foot on the run. I think that was him just not being able to put enough on the ball, which, if anything, that's my real concern with him. See, I mean, I'm not sure with stuff like um, with pressure situations. I've noticed teams with quarterbacks that aren't great at passing tend not to go through the air on uh, like pressure situations like a third down. I mean, I know that was 3rd and 1, but I mean, if you watch Trevin Boykin versus like Oklahoma, it's a super close game with like half the fourth quarter left, and they pretty much just take the ball out of Boykin's hands. They're like, we're not going to let you throw. You're just going to run the ball, or Catalan's going to run the ball, and that's going to be the rest of the game. And I think they didn't even have the lead, or had lost the lead at some point in that quarter, and they still stuck to that plan of keeping the ball out of Boykin's hands. Um, but what I'm getting at is it looked like in a lot of these 3rd and 4th down situations, they're either going to play action or just making Dobbs run the ball, which I feel like is a little weird because I feel like he's a capable player um, as a passer. So I'm not sure if they're taking the ball out of his hands just because they think they're confident in their rushing game, or they're just scared of Dobbs not being able to complete the throw.
Well, yeah, my question is, do you think it has anything to do? I mean, because this, I think, was his 8th career college football game. Do you think it has anything to do with that, or?
That could be it too, but I mean, on the other hand, he's not really shown that he's like scared of these kind of situations, or that he can't handle them. So I feel like the coaching staff should have enough confidence in him to be able to make throws and throw on 3rd and 4th downs if they really want to.
That's great timing on that, throwing it right over the linebacker's head.
But just under the safety, exactly. I like those throws over the middle where you have to, get it on top of one defender, but make sure that the second level or the third level defender is not going to be able to get to it. And that's exactly what he did. Which is why I really like to watch guys throw like the seam routes to tight ends and stuff, because a lot of those are timing, and if you're going to throw that too early, linebacker's going to be able to get to it. If you're throwing it too late, safety's probably going to pop him in the mouth, and it's going to be an incompletion.
You see, he has a pretty good pump fake because that linebacker 42 bit on that pump fake, which opened up the seam to the tight end.
And one quick note on this game, I was double checking. Marquez North did not play.
Okay.
That looks like it was intended to be a fake, um, like the fake tunnel screen. So really,
Yeah.
it looks like Dobbs really only has one way to go on that throw, so you have to do it perfectly, and he did. I remember this throw.
Yeah.
One part of me wants to say that was him just not putting enough on it, which it kind of was, but on the other hand, it looks like the safety is well on top of that play anyway, so I think even if he puts more on that, that's not a complete throw. Oh, maybe not, because he kind of comes from the side. Maybe if he does put, I mean, at the very least, I'd like to see him put more on it and just throw it out of bounds,
Yeah.
not give anyone else a shot at it. Yeah, see, it looks like the safety there would have had to have turned around, and I don't think he would have been able to accelerate quickly enough if that ball was thrown farther. It's the one holdup I have with Dobbs. Like, I want to like Dobbs so much, but I'm not quite sure what to do with his arm yet. Which is kind of how I feel about Goff, who I'm pretty sure is who we're looking at tomorrow. But
Yep.
with Goff, even though Goff is good, like I watched Dobbs, and I'm not sure what Goff does better than Dobbs. Like, I mean, people really harp on Goff being smart, and he is, but a lot of that offense is screens and really quick passes. And of course, that still does take some level of understanding which guy to go to. But I think we see Dobbs go through multiple progressions more than we see in Goff. And then I think we also see Dobbs be a more natural presence in the pocket, but we still like, and nobody wants to look at at Dobbs as a legit quarterback prospect yet, especially over Dobbs, who was like Twitter's love child for whatever reason.
Yeah, I don't get that one.
This was a weird play. I think calling a screen there was kind of a really bad call, but Jalen Hurts pretty talented and was able to make something out of nothing really.
Yeah, Hurt's pretty good. He flashed in the Georgia game too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Georgia, and then who they play at the end of the year? Iowa.
I feel like next year we're going to see a little bit less screens and play action and read option, um, because I think Dobbs is going to be a lot more comfortable and know the playbook a little bit better and just be a bit more capable as a passer. I mean, he's shown that he's very capable, but to some extent, you can only ask a guy to throw so many times. So I think we're going to be able to see Dobbs throw a little bit more without having, something to kind of safety net it, like easy throws with screens and play action to bait linebackers in and stuff like that.
Well, yeah, another thing about this, it was such a young team. I mean, starting tight end was a freshman. They had another name slipping my mind right now, but he's a freshman. Sophomore Marquez North missed almost half the year with an injury, so getting those weapons back, more experience, I think will help.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
See how he naturally hitches up in the pocket like that?
Yep,
I
I
mean,
love that.
yeah, it's like a lot of guys, especially this age, just don't do that. I mean, you still even see Connor Cook just leave so much room in the pocket. Last year, the worst was Sean Mannion. Sean Mannion was so bad at seeing open pocket ahead of him and moving into it, and Dobbs is so young and he's already able to do it really well, which is impressive. Because I think a lot of it is that guys don't entirely understand that a drop is so that once you get to the end of the drop, there's supposed to be something you're seeing or something you're about to see. If it's something you're about to see, you have to know that you're hitching up because you're going to make the throw easier on yourself. And guys just don't do that enough because I don't think they fully understand how helpful that can be.
Yeah, I just love how he stands strong with the pressure coming towards him off the edge
Exactly.
right there.
I mean, he has guys coming off of both edges, and he's able to just stand strong and make a throw. Um, Not necessarily through a tight window, but I mean, there were a couple defenders in the area. So, I mean, he's looking at like a sea of black, and he was still able to make the throw, which is impressive. And almost every time he knows exactly which side of the pocket he needs to leave to. Like,
Hmm.
I mean, we brought up Manziel, or I brought up Manziel earlier, and like sometimes Manziel would know he has to leave, but he would like jump around the wrong way, and he would jump into his own lineman. With Dobbs, you rarely see that. Like he knows where the space is, and he knows where the openings are. Um, and there he does a very good job. Like he knows he has all this space to the right because the edge rusher from that side took a
Looks
really,
too
really
far.
wide angle. Yeah, and he was able to get out of the pocket, and he didn't look to run first. He kept his eyes downfield and made the throw. A damn good throw for a first down, or what should have been a first down. It looked like he didn't complete, or it looked like the receiver didn't get a foot in or
There's
something.
that timing anticipation again.
Yeah, right there, exactly. Yeah.
That's a great throw.
Mm-hmm. This is a better angle too.
Slides.
Yep. To get that over the defender, but not get the safety to know what he's doing and come crashing down on it. That's a really impressive throw. That looks like, I don't feel like that was a draw. I feel like that was him knowing his only option from a passing standpoint uh, on that play was going to be this inside slot receiver here and hitting him quick, and it looks like he knows it's not open, so he just takes off. And yeah, he sees it, and it looks like maybe that was a draw because he does kind of take a really wide. The receiver takes a really wide angle, so it looks like maybe they were opening that up for him. That's another good anticipation throw.
Yep. And sometimes you'll see like this is a big point in the game, down 7, trying to win the game. Sometimes you see guys like get scared and maybe be a little bit more timid with their throws, but he's still not afraid to fire it down in there.
Exactly, which is huge. I mean, as much as I harped on Joe Flacco for a long time, the one thing I could always respect about Flacco is that no matter what the situation was on the scoreboard, he was always willing to go out and make any throw that he needed to, um, which is why he was, I don't think he's like comeback god, but I mean he's shown that he can win some of the big games that he needs to because he's not afraid in these types of situations, and Dobbs certainly shown he has that kind of brass. He did everything right there from just getting out of the pocket and getting away from pressure. That was just a really, really tough throw to make. So I don't entirely blame him for not making it. It looked like he might have been able to, but throwing near the sideline, the receiver still would have had to make a pretty incredible play on the ball too.
Yeah. He's so good at setting up angles so he doesn't get killed. Like I love that about him.
And he really sells his draw really well. Like on almost all of these draws, I can't really tell immediately what's going on because he does such a good job of really selling that it looks like a pass. And part of that is having the athleticism. Whoa, that's a really good throw.
That's a really good throw.
But with the way he sells the draw, like part of it is being able to have the athleticism to know you can fake it so well and for so long that you can make up for it athletically and buy that time back. And he certainly has that ability. That looks like a miscommunication. It looked like he thought his guy was going to turn outside and back in, and he didn't. So again, kind of like the missed handoff. I'm not sure if that's on the receiver not knowing the route or Dobbs not knowing the route. Damn, he's so good at moving
I
away from
know.
pressure. Like, I mean, he doesn't even drop his eyes at all. Like,
He feels it. Like
he just feels it, moves out of the pocket, makes a throw. Whoever that corner is really good.
yeah, I'm about to look up his name after this.
Yeah, because he was the one that has been making a couple of plays on that sideline. Um, yeah, I mean that throw is really all about where it could be. It's just that corner made such a good play on it that there's nothing Dobbs could have done.
That's a great play. I love how
Yeah.
he sees the alley as the right tackle opens up a little bit
hmm
and cuts right through it.
Dobbs is definitely one of those players that, not necessarily that like he's not going to be good when everything's like moving right, like he is going to be very good when things are moving well. Like I think, in the sense of how he's able to handle pressure and like win with chaos around him, he is kind of like of that like Phillip Rivers or Tony Romo or Ben Roethlisberger type, where like he kind of thrives in chaos and like letting guys kind of figure a way to get open and muddle through defenders uh, and just let guys get open like that. I think he's going to
Yep.
be. I mean, and that's kind of like I've talked about how Waldman always said you have to have a guy who's going to be able to win inside and outside the structure. And for a guy to be able to win like this is definitely winning outside of the structure, and I think he does a very good job of that. And we've also seen that he can do a very good job of winning inside the structure because of, his drops are very clean. He's shown that he can keep his eyes downfield, and his anticipation is very good. So I think for him to, get both of those checks, that's definitely a very good starting point for a young quarterback like him.
And real quickly on the USC corner, Rico McWilliams.
I'm gonna have to look him up after this.
What year was he?
Redshirt sophomore.
And
so he's eligible this year?
Yeah.
Nice. That's so close.
That really...
Oh, the South Carolina... I forgot South Carolina.
What?
Did South Carolina end up winning this game, right?
No, Tennessee won. They took because 3rd and 10, Tennessee kicked a field goal out on 4th and 10 to win it.
Nice.
Oh, okay. That throw looked like... I mean, it wasn't a perfect throw, I don't think, but it looked like the defender was making a really good play on it. So Dobbs put it in a good enough spot. It looks like for the receiver to make a play on it. The receiver just wasn't able to do it. I think with that throw, you're getting just about all you can out of Dobbs.
Mm-hmm. That's so close to being a touchdown.
Yeah, it looks like that play was like mirrored on both sides, and you see on the left side the defender falls down, but that was well after Dobbs had already kind of picked his side. So I really hope people don't harp on him for that. Like, it looks like he's already set to throw to the right side before the defender on the left falls. So, we'll watch it again and make sure.
It was the last throw of the game. Just take one shot.
Yeah, see, it's after he's already moving away and planning to throw to this right side that defender on the left falls. So I'm not going to knock him for that at all.
All right, so let's talk about Josh Dobbs. I mean, obviously I'm smiling. I'm excited season to come. Josh Dobbs. Yeah, so Derek, starting with you, your thoughts on Josh Dobbs. I mean, talked about him a lot, but from that game, what were your takeaways?
Other than, the couple of plays where I question how good his arm really is, he's really good. I mean, he's shown he has enough smarts and anticipation. Like, there really weren't any plays that he fouled up because, he made a poor read or something. He's shown that he can stand in the pocket and have a really, really natural presence as a passer, which that's something, like I said, you don't see enough from some of these athletic guys. But he knows that he shouldn't abuse his athleticism. He knows that he's a passer before he's a runner. I think that's really important. He knows how to command the pocket and move around and evade defenders, and that's huge because the NFL is chaos. And if you can't, breed success during chaos, then you're not going to be a very good quarterback. And I think maybe I said this on the last show at the end of the Keel show, but we were talking. It was like me, Charles, and Ben, and a couple of the other guys, and we were talking about Dobbs. And I said, he's Manziel if Manziel had like a natural feel for the pocket and a natural presence as a passer. And Ben Natan was like, well, that's basically Tony Romo. And it kind of like you said at the end of the Keel show, a light bulb went off. Like, he is Tony Romo. He's this guy that he has anticipation and his footwork looks clean and he's a smart guy and he's a passer before he's a runner. But at the same time, he's a guy who's going to be able to thrive in chaos and make kind of something out of nothing. And I think that's the kind of player that Dobbs is going to be able to be.
And Charles.
I mean, I don't have much to add. I'm really impressed that a guy who's got single-digit starts is, this comfortable in the pocket, running an offense that's, he's got his pro-style reads where he's got to scan from one side of the field to the other, look off safeties, fire in zone holes, take on one-on-one man situations on the sideline. he's really impressive so far, and I'm really excited to watch him grow. Maybe see if he can put on some weight, get that arm strength a little stronger, because right now that's the only like big thing that's holding me back from probably ranking him as like one of my top 3 guys heading into the season. So if he can find a way to get that arm strength up, everything else is really in place for him right now. He's got really natural pocket presence, great footwork. Um, I really think the sky's the limit for Dobbs, and I'm really excited to see how he progresses through his career at Tennessee.
I mean, it all comes back. He's so natural for the position. I mean, if you take away the arm, if you were to build the quarterback, I think many of the traits you'd look for in a prototype, Dobbs would have all those natural tools. So just, man, if he can get that arm.
Yeah, I mean, that's really like the one thing. That's the only reservation I really have with Dobbs. It's like you're saying, everywhere else, he's like, basically, if you build a quarterback from the head up, I mean, from the shoulders up, and just, being able to process the game and process plays, Dobbs is like, I mean, he's really, really good, and he's just about all you're looking for. But it's just that arm, and the thing with arm strength is it's funny because I feel like a lot of people are looking at arm strength purely from how far can he throw it and how well can he throw over the middle. And as important as it is to throw over the middle, a lot of throwing over the middle is also anticipation. And Dobbs has shown he has plenty of anticipation to make those throws, and he has enough arms to hit those throws. It's throwing outside that is really like one of the big meters for arm strength. And you saw there were a couple of plays here. One was he was running to his weak side and he threw off 1 foot, and that really wasn't him. I think throwing anywhere on the field that would have been a bad throw just because of his base and his arm strength. But there were a couple of throws like the deeper one that got intercepted. It looked like he was he was throwing to the boundary and he just couldn't get enough on it, and it ended up being picked off. So I think if we can see him improve just a little bit, and it looks like with him it's just putting air under the ball. It doesn't look like his outs or hitches die out too bad, or like his deep comebacks. I mean, he definitely leaves a little bit to be desired, but I don't think it fades out too bad. I think he's going to be okay there. With him, it's just going to be, throwing beyond 15 yards. We're going to really want to see him put a little bit more air under the ball. And if he can show that he can do that, either this coming year or I think he's probably going to end up being a stay for his senior year. If we can see him improve on that either year, I think he's going to be probably a first-round pick. And I mean, and that's a little early to say that, but I really think he's going to be that good.
Yeah, I'm just, I have to hype Tennessee up because nothing good has really happened to Tennessee in the past few years. But I'm just, the roster going forward this year, next year, I mean, you have Derek Barnett, who I thinks is going to be a top pick in next year. I mean, you have Josh Malone, who was a freshman I mentioned, who had a bad year but should take big strides this year. Marquez North, Alvin Kamara, Jalen Hurd, Cameron Sutton. Man, it's an
Sutton. He's a beast, man.
He is.
I've watched some of his stuff. He's really, really good.
I'm Team Tennessee. Sutton, Barnett,
Dobbs,
North, Hurd. Yeah, all that. And so coming up tomorrow, we're going to look at Jared Goff. Yeah, Jared Goff with Derrik Klassen at QB class. It's going to be looking at, and actually works perfectly given that how Derek has mentioned. People looking at Goff, praising him, and not seeing too many differences between Goff and Dobbs. So that'll be a good side-by-side view. And then Charles, hopefully we get something set up for next week. I mean, I think we watched Jordan Jenkins, so we need to get another one going.
Yeah, we should set up Leonard Floyd, the other edge rusher out of Georgia. That'll be a fun one to watch.
I'm for it. And also on Friday, Ian Wharton, we will be looking at Jalen Ramsey. So it's under the lens. It's going to be a fun time. Lots of videos coming to you very soon. Have a playlist set up on iTunes so you can check them all out. And everyone, well, first of all, Charles, Derek, I want to thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. I'm excited for the show tomorrow.
And that's my dog signing off the show. Everyone, thank you for checking us out.